News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
So the Department of Justice announced an expansion of its Operation Legend, which I did not know it had a name, and will send federal troops into Cleveland, Detroit, and Milwaukee to assist local police in fighting an uptick in violent crime.
I got to send him down to Rush Street so this brother can enjoy a steak.
Well, this comes on the heels of federal forces, Homeland Security, and ICE agents pulling back in Portland. So now they're going to Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Detroit. The plan is to send 42 agents to Detroit, 25 to Cleveland and Milwaukee. They'll be deployed from the FBI, DEA, and other agencies. Attorney General William Barr says the expansion of Operation Legend is necessary to assist cities in that have a rise of violent crime, and is not like the surge in Portland, where federal agents were sent to control protests. The new deployment is not sitting well with everybody, though. Leaders like Mayor Tom Barrett in Milwaukee says, "I'm extremely concerned that President Trump is looking for opportunities to create more political division in cities across the nation."
Well, first off, how's that possible? We can create more. Number two, somebody just said, look, if the people in Portland are trying to burn down a federal courthouse, then you're allowed to send federal troops to protect your federal courthouse, which is fine. This thing where it's like they're pulling up on unmarked cars and pulling peaceful protesters off the street and throwing them in a gulag and shit. It's like that's not happening. We need to get things under control. And there's an interesting thing Ben Shapiro said at some point, I remember hearing it, said the most important thing you could do, like you need in these communities of color and these communities, poor communities, like the first thing you need to do in that community is get crime under control. You have to get crime under control. That's first. Everyone wants to talk about schooling and businesses and stuff. If you don't have crime under control, then what businesses do you have? Like when you have businesses just to go, like, I'm not going in there. I'm not hanging my shingle in that part of town. It's like it's too dangerous. I don't want an employee to get shot at the store I'm opening or whatever it is. The first thing you have to do is get crime under control. The next thing is then have the businesses come in and have people participating in those businesses and schools and whatever else. But anyway, it's it's such a bizarre relationship we're having with rules and law enforcement now. I went through the first 50 years of my life with, it was a couple little flare-ups, a couple little discussions. Always, if you sit next to Mark Garagos, he's going to tell you about this guy being in prison wrongly and the system and bail and shit like that. But man, it is just taken over our world. But either way, all right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there in those three cities. Meanwhile, Johnny Depp's libel case in the UK has come to a close after 3 weeks of dramatic and sometimes entertaining testimony. Depp sued over an article in The Sun that called him a wife beater during his short-lived marriage to Amber Heard. In her closing submission, the attorney for News Group Newspapers, owner of The Sun, said, quote, "There's no doubt that Mr. Depp regularly and systematically abused his wife." In his closing submission, the actor's lawyer called Heard a compulsive liar and said, "At its very core, we say it demonstrates that she is an abuser, not Mr. Depp. He is no wife beater." A ruling isn't expected for several weeks, but this was 3 weeks of craziness.
So what I don't understand is, although it was interesting when Garagos said the reason England has different laws than we do, and it's a lower threshold to sue a news entity. So there's many more of these lawsuits in England than there are here in the United States because we have a higher threshold to sue CNN or the Washington Post or whatever. It's a higher threshold burden of proof. But he's over there and he's suing the paper. But what is she doing? Why is she there?
Well, that's the thing.
Is he getting divorced and suing them? Like, I don't know what the court. What is the? He's suing them for libel, or slander, whichever one it is. But
libel.
But then why is she there?
I can look it up, but my guess is she's a witness for the defense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh. Really?
It's
Benedict
interesting.
Arnold.
The prosecutor in her closing argument said he was an abuser, but didn't specifically say wife beater, which is what the issue is over. Like, abuse covers a lot of things, very nebulous sometimes. Wife beater is very specific. So I wonder if they're backing off that. I don't know.
It seems weird that she would stop what she's doing and go to England for a month and have her soil.
What is she doing?
I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, she's the
not with
main
Elon
witness.
Musk.
She's the main witness. Does she get paid? She must
Get paid to be a witness?
Well, let me tell you one thing I've learned. Court experts, the experts, like financial experts,
forensic accountant,
all those guys, they get paid a shitload of money by whichever side cuts the check. You know, like when they bring in their expert, when Mark Garagos brings in his expert, he says exactly what they figured out to say as the quote unquote expert who's getting paid.
I guess she's an expert on Johnny Depp.
So
but
I don't think it seems like it's like a weird way for her to spend a month. Just, I'm going to go to England and have everyone talk about me shitting in bed and stuff like that.
But remember, she wrote that open letter or op-ed or whatever for, was it Huffington Post, or about how she's a domestic abuse survivor. So maybe she's doubling down on that. You know, maybe she wants to be seen as a leading advocate for surviving domestic abuse. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
Maybe Max Spada can look. But either way, God damn. What a crazy. First off, I don't think, when I was a kid, it was always like, be rich and be famous. Rich and famous, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. I don't know. Is it worth it anymore? Like, I just feel like you're going to get sued. Your shit's all going to be out there. Someone's going to hate you. Eventually, we're going to go full Ellen on your ass. I don't know. It's like, I have kids. I would kind of hope that they would just kind of get along and slide under the radar a little bit. They can make money. They can have a profession and even be rich. But the rich and the famous part, I don't know if the famous.
That's what Steve Martin always said. If you have to pick between rich and famous, pick rich.
Because famous used to mean you could walk into a club and give the maitre d' $100 and he'd throw somebody out and just put you right at the front of the Copa. Or it meant when you got pulled over, like, oh, Mr. Carson, yes, I'll escort you home. You seem to have been drinking tonight. You know, there was a lot of perks. I don't know, you get those perks anymore. Yeah. I can't go down to building and safety and go like, all right, who do I got? Whose kids do I got to grease? I got to grease some palms here because this guy, I'm a big time celebrity. Like, you just fucking pull a ticket and get in line. I don't know that there's any more celebrity anymore. Max Spada, look into that because I keep seeing Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and I guess she's a witness, but she's just out there because she hates Johnny or because the papers lining her pockets.
Well, if she's subpoenaed, she'd have a choice, right?
I guess if she's subpoenaed, yeah, that's true. All right, keep going, Gina Grad.
All right, well, Lou Williams, he is a Clippers guard, and he's been hit with a 10-day quarantine after social media posts showed him at a strip club called Magic City when he was supposed to only leave the NBA bubble in Orlando to go to his grandfather's funeral. But that was the headline a day or two ago. The new headline is everybody throwing their support behind him because of a picture, which I'll show you in a second. So Williams' excuse was
Do we know that the grandfather, that the wake wasn't at a strip club?
We don't.
Okay.
But he's not.
Hey, everybody. Hey, we got an 8-foot-tall hoopster in here. What? What? Wait, tell me. What's that? What am I, safe at home? Oh, don't say anything in the mic. Okay, what'd you do? Just leave the bubble? Hey, did you see that John Travolta movie about that boy in the bubble? Hey, I might be dating myself. Look, I've been doing too much coke. I'm talking too fast. I can't get my mouth to stop. Hey, NBA is in Orlando. Speaking of Orlando, what happened at Orlando Bloom? You ever see a picture of that guy on a wakeboard? Man, that guy's got a huge show. Man, about a hawk. Jade, Stage 7, Stage 7. Hey, Hey, buddy, you grieve the way you want to grieve, and I'll grieve the way I want to grieve. You want to grieve Grandpa's death? You grieve Grandpa's death. Knee deep in pussy, drinking champagne, and eating hot wings by the bucket. Hey, speaking of buckets, we got a businessman lunch coming up. That's right. We're not going to let COVID-19 slow us down. Hell, we've been here since COVID-18. We got businessman lunch and bottomless bucket of deep-fried shrimp poppers. So come on down, and remember, say hi.
I realize now I really missed an opportunity.
So,
hey, buddy. This pandemic's it's affecting all of us. Some of us have been touched personally. I had it wasn't I don't know, is there a difference in these days between a biological brother and a man you loved like a biological brother? But Kurt is in, I don't know, is there a thing between prison and juvie? Or the point is he was in a confined space with other gentlemen, and he was due to be paroled, although he called it furloughed. Anyway, he'd got himself hooked up with he had some pre-existing conditions. He was Jade stage 7. He was morbidly obese. He had a bath salt problem. That's probably what got him in there in the first place. He liked to. He didn't have what you call a healthy lifestyle, is what it was, and he was kind of compromised. Is what say anyway. I just remember that boy. That guy, he had so much promise. That guy could do the alphabet backwards when he was 15, and how do I know? I was there. And I checked later on we didn't have smartphones. You know what? I'm digressing. Kurt's going to be missed. This COVID-19 thing's a big deal. Make sure and tip the Nicaraguan guy in the bathroom, though. Champagne room's still open. It's still flowing, still going. Buffet, the businessman's buffet is up there. Hey, Jade, quit your grinning. Drop your linen. That's the way Kurt would have wanted it. Thanks. I'm going to go out and blow butt. I'll be the one standing by the tan Jeep in the parking lot. I'm just going to blow butt out there. So, kind of, I don't know, something about the sunlight when you step out of a place with either no windows or foil over the windows you have. But I'm going to go have a cigarette out there, and I'm going to be drinking a Loco 5150 out there, and I'm going to dump a little out for Kurt. He's going to be missed. Now, he's not going to be missed by the community, of course, because it's part of the reason he got himself incarcerated, but he will be missed by this non-biological brother. Peace out. Thank you.
Touching.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
So we'll just put a button on this story. He said he only went to the strip club for the chicken wings. And even though that seems far-fetched, people have been posting a picture of these chicken wings, and now everybody believes it. Here's a picture of it. That's at at Magic City Strip Club. That's what you get. Incredible looking spread of various, and there's even like a Lou Williams lemon pepper chicken wing, and it looks like a barbecue and a fried and French fries. And now everyone is coming to his support and his aid on Twitter saying, I get it. I get why you'd chance getting out of the bubble to go get that spread of chicken wings.
Maybe this is some diabolical thing to get the customers not to touch the dancers, because when they get the lap dance, the hands always like slide around and cup the butt cheeks. But when you're covered with hot sauce, hot wing sauce, and I think you pretty much keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can they? He's got to quarantine him for 10 days
10
now.
Days. He's going to miss. Shit, where'd it go? I think he's missing at least 2 games.
Give him a week. Let him. If nothing's cooking after a week, let him back on the court. That's what I say.
Well, you don't know what the ladies have.
We don't know what the ladies have. That's right. Yeah, it's like you're coronavirus free, but you got crabs. That's the bad news. Like, if I'm the doctor, that'd definitely be my joke if I came through the door, right?
Well, the good news is
that's right.
It's like what's his name? Job from Arrested Development. Will Arnett. Don't worry, these ladies have been nowhere near the food. So Google just announced that they're allowing their employees to work remotely till next summer. They want to give their employees ability to plan ahead. Meanwhile, Facebook is allowing employees to work from home until the beginning of next year. And Twitter says, you can just stay at home forever. We don't care. You can work from home permanently.
Really?
Do you think that's their way of shutting down some real estate because it's not necessary?
Well, I always kind of liken it to what we used to talk about, going to the radio and going to these big buildings and parking structures and lobbies and security and everything. And it turns out everyone can just kind of do what they want from their home. The only people that can't do it, kind of ironically, are the people who build the homes. All the workers still have to get out and hit the road and do their work. But the folks with their phone and their computer, and as you guys have proven, and when I'm done today, I'm going to do some Zoom interview thing. We go up on stage, and Ben Shapiro and Greg Gutfeld will pop in, Jail Coven. Everyone just sort of pops in now. I don't know. I mean, if you kind of look at it, if you think about percentage, so percentage of Americans that had to go to work, turn of the century or 120 years ago. Ironically, there was a lot of doctors that worked from an office in their house, and dentists and stuff like that.
House calls.
House calls.
And did house calls, and also had an office. It is speculated that my house, Maxipad, if you can find the picture, but the house I grew up in famously had two doors right next to each other, two big fucking front doors, right? Two huge front doors, just 8 inches apart at a 90-degree angle. And it was always speculated that, that was the guy's office. Like, he'd bring the people in.
Oh.
You go through that door, you're in
something.
his doctor's office.
Okay.
You go in the other door, you're in the house. So, but you go back 120 years. Most all Americans had to get up and go to work. You had to go to a factory. It's a picture of the house I grew up in with two big doors that are 6 inches apart, which is just one more weird wrinkle from my childhood. But there it
But at
was.
least there's a satisfying theory, because otherwise it makes my head hurt looking at it.
Yes. So the house is torn down now. But everyone had to get up and go to work. Some people had to go to a mine. Some people had to go to a camp, logging. Some people had to go to a mill, textile factory, just get up and go to a factory, all day. Then as we started advancing, less people had to get up and go to a factory, but they got up and went somewhere. But the somewhere, see, if you work, I have a bunch of guys, they work at the shop. The shop, they're prepping a car for a race. The shop's got a bunch of shit in it, a bunch of tools and cutters and ways to fabricate and welders and shit. It ain't in their living room. They don't have that in their living room. Gina, you go to a place. Brian, you did go to a place. I go to a place where everything that's in this place could be in my living room or my den. In the past, when you're working at a lumber mill or you're working at a Ford factory, well, then good luck with the lumber mill in your living room. But if you think about it, if you're an attorney or you're a broadcaster or you're a secretary or you're an accountant, my accountant goes into work, sits at their desk, opens the same computer they have at home, and looks at all the shit they theoretically could look at home. So the more technology moves forward, the more where you're going to has the same stuff that you just left.
Yeah.
And you couldn't say that about a mill or a mine or anything, right?
And it's funny because you kind of know intellectually that everyone's working from home, but I never think it. Like if I call customer service or if I'm calling, a law officer, an accountant or whatever, you just picture everyone at work. So when you hear their dog bark in the background or you hear like a coffee grinding, it's like, oh, like it's off-putting.
I think the new conceit is the hourly thing, the time clock, the how many hours did you put in. In a way, it's kind of out the window because we opened up weekends to work and evenings to work, and we got rid of the calendar. everything used to be closed on Sundays. I could remember Sundays like, oh, man, everything's closed. You got to wait till Monday if you want to buy that toy or whatever it is. Once we got rid of the calendar, then we also got rid of the clock. So now everyone just has tasks, but they don't really have
get your shit done.
clocks.
Yeah.
I'm sure Christy's kind of that way. Like she's at home working. She has tasks to do.
Yeah, well, my window into the corporate world is, of course, Christy. She's in the other room right now, probably on a call or a video conference, which she is all day. And I can say, like, they get business done pretty efficiently with people just working from home, because you're right. You're not just putting in your hours. You don't have to have someone breathing over your neck. You're get the shit done. You know what I mean? There's an assignment, a task that's due this week, or the client wants this by the end of the day. Just get your shit done.
That's where we're at. And also, just because you're at work doesn't mean you're working. I mean, look no further than 5 feet behind me where Gabe was like playing video games when I was hitting the road. Like, you don't have to work just because you're at work. You got your smartphone. A lot of people checking their roto leagues and YouPorn and God knows what else.
So after years of development, the 2021 Ford Bronco finally debuted earlier this month, which caused a frenzy of pre-ordering the vehicle. So many people pre-ordered the Bronco that there's already an 18-month wait list. The start of production is right on schedule, but it will still take months and months for enough Broncos to roll off the assembly line to meet demand. We have a picture of it. I'm sure you've seen it. There's plenty of pictures, but
that's like the Bronco 2, right? The little like squatty one.
Sure.
Yeah, well, there was the first generation Bronco that
like the OJ Bronco that we all know.
That was the second Bronco. So the first Bronco was like, I don't know, 63, 64 to like 70 something. They had a first gen Bronco. Those are highly coveted now. People pay $70,000 for like just a stock Bronco from the late 60s. Then they went to the Bronco 2, which was the one that had the weird curved glass in the back that rolled over all the time. That was a piece of shit. Then they went to the OJ Bronco.
Okay.
I think, and then that was a bigger Bronco, and then they kind of phased it out, and now everyone's wanting to get back. Ford has their new F-150 truck is gas and electric, and you can run 240 off it. It has like a built-in generator. So it's like if you're working, you could run an air compressor. You could plug in all your tools and charge all your battery tools on the job site. You don't need
smart.
Electricity is a big deal when you're building. Like if you're building a cabin and you don't have power, or just building a home and you don't have the temporary power brought in, that's a big deal. So they're really making strides over there, and it's nice to see 100-year-old companies like evolving, moving, changing, like still going, still producing. I like that part of this. I like that story. So it's nice. Yeah, it's back, and people are going nuts for it. And as I said, there's a big move toward all these off-road type vehicles, because each time you put, every 5 people that buy a Prius, one person buys a Jeep and puts a lift kit on it. Like that's where we're going as a society. For every one person that says there was a microaggression, that they were the victim of a microaggression, another person is signing up for a Tough Mudder or taking their first jiu-jitsu class. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're just going as a nation. So it's pretty much safe rooms and octagons, and then just Priuses and 4x. Those are what you're going to see. That's where we're going. I've seen more Jeeps and more knobby tires and more lift kits, especially on fucking Rush Street in Chicago. But this thing's a massive seller, and I think it has a lot to do with the climate. I really like the social, political. It's a climate. No more 4-door sedans anymore. Everyone's got to kind of, you have to kind of plant your flag. You have to make a statement. Like I'm driving something that I could survive the apocalypse in, or I'm hugging a tree. Like I'm no more just sort of 4-door sedans. Yes.
That's funny you mentioned Survive the Apocalypse. My first thought was related to what you were saying. Like, I wonder how many people buying that or ordering it are like, shit's getting crazy, riots and whatever. Like, if I want to just take off somewhere, it's nice to know they have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, you can go full Red Dawn, man. All right, what else we got, Gina Grad?
I will tell you, but before I forget, you know how we talk sometimes about cities that do not match their name? There was one that's been on my mind that I just remembered. I want to see what you guys think. Fancy name, not such a fancy place, Diamond Bar.
Diamond
I mean, it has the word diamond in it.
I know. Probably not that far from Corona, California.
It's mentioned in the book.
Is Diamond Bar?
Bar?
It's a great name for a casino. Not a great name for a town.
Okay.
Dawson's got a memory like a fucking bear trap, man.
That's impressive.
I fucking said it in the book, and I don't remember saying it.
That's impressive. And apparently, what it really it's an ode to a brand.
You know what would have been better though? It would have been better if I just kind of poo-pooed it. Like, hey, it's all right, cutie. That's a little girl. That's what we call a
cute.
That's what you know. What? Let's round up. Let's make that one a 5. But sort of leave the heavy lifting in the comedy department to the Ace Man, and then Dawson kicks in with he put it in the book.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
So a federal prosecutors accused a Florida man Monday of fraudulently obtaining nearly $4 million from the Paycheck Protection Program and using some of the money to buy a Lamborghini.
Next to Pomona, not Corona, so says Matt Zapata. But it can't be too far from Corona, can it?
It's like 20 minutes.
Pomona Mining Company, good restaurant.
Yeah, all right, sorry. They used the money to buy a Lambo?
29 years old, charged with bank fraud, according to NBC. Federal agents seized the car, which valued at $318,000 and $3.5 million from his bank account when he was arrested. So he wanted $13.5 million in paycheck protection loans through the applications on behalf of different companies that included false statements about employee payroll expenses. And according to the documents, these purported employees either didn't exist or earned a fraction of what he claimed on his applications, but he got $4 million. So whatever he did worked for at least a short time.
I can't. And they went out and bought a Aventador or Huracan or something like that. The point is this: you got to resist buying the $300,000 plus Lambo. You got to wait 15 minutes after the check clears. It's like these guys that they kill their wife, she drowns mysteriously, and then it's like they collect the insurance, and then 10 minutes later, they're seen in Acapulco with their new girlfriend. It's like, you got to just lay low for 6 months. Yeah. Just fucking lay low.
Yeah, it's like Goodfellas. He rips the mink off of her.
Right.
And the other guy bought a Cadillac.
Take it back. What's in my mother-in-law's name? Take it back. Right. He bought a Huracan. Yeah. Just wait. Just let the paint dry a little. And it'll be in the bank. If I did this, I would just live completely, not that I live a normal life, but if in fact I was a normal person and lived a normal life, I wouldn't change a fucking thing for 5 years. Like
you go full Warren Buffett.
So you still drive your Porsches?
Yeah. Well, I don't drive on the street, Brian, but I get your drift.
That was absurd.
Yes. Hey, baby, I'm driving a Datsun 510 in the next race, so I'm slumming it, man. All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
All right. Well, very, very tragic news. A truck crash in southern Missouri luckily resulted in no injuries, but whiskey drinkers are heartbroken. A semi-truck carrying 12,000 bottles of Templeton rye overturned, dumped its entire load onto the highway. The bottles of booze were picked up in Templeton, Iowa, and was en route to a warehouse in Arkansas. The truck was deemed a total loss, and so was the whiskey, which was valued at $325,000.
Well, same price almost as the Lambo Huracan. Yeah, Templeton is good. I love a rye because it's got a little spice to it. And I think those guys came in here once and we talked to them. I think it was the whole Al Capone story and Prohibition. And
we used to make the Better Man with it.
Yeah, there's always
flowers.
There's always a good story. Everyone wants a good story now. They want a good story with their booze. They want a good story in life. It's weird. Everyone's sharing what they did. Here's where we were. Here's where we ate. Here's where we went. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden we've turned into these crazy gypsies. There's like weaving tales.
Raconteurs.
It's weird because families, everything was sort of close to the vest. Like when I was younger, like you don't talk about this, you don't talk about your finances or if there's an illness or, it's like we keep it private. Not my family, but I mean, regular families would be like, hey, we don't put our dirty laundry out there. Now, full circle, man, or 180, just pushing it out. Like everyone's just shoving it out there.
I was just talking about this the other day. If I could have told an 11-year-old Gina that one day it was going to be cool to talk about your anxiety disorder and not be so shaming that you didn't leave your house for 3 months and missed 3 months of school, I would have been on easy street. But it was not like that in middle school in my day.
Hold on, you're weird?
That's funny.
Oh. Jeez, I thought you were kidding about that shit. That's freaking me out, dude.
I had such a horrific panic disorder when my parents got divorced.
Wow.
And
too much information. Thanks for sharing.
No, this is one of those you stories.
Yeah. No, let me tell you about Ritalin.
Chris, we've probably come to the end of the show, right?
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah. Sir,
I got my period really late. Do you want to hear about it?
Gina's internet connection's all over the place, man.
Hello?
It's taking me episode.
All right, let me hit. I agree. Part of it is a good thing. People don't have to. It's like I was a bedwetter when I was a kid, and that was devastatingly embarrassing.
Gosh.
That was so humiliating. I don't know if you're a bedwetter as a kid now. It's like. You may get a few, pardon the pun, brownie points or something. I don't.
Everyone's like Adam Sandler. It's cool to be a band.
Just say Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Gina Grad, let's bring it on home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.